Great day in North Florida. You guys are here with God Tier Scouting. We have a very special episode today and a special guest.
What's up? My name's Owen. I also play fantasy football. So let's get after it.
Yes, Owen finished second in our league last year. He should have won the Natty.
Thanks for bringing that up.
It's probably a little disappointed.
Go fuck yourself.
Like I said, very special episode. We are going over our sleeper picks in this year's 2021 PPR fantasy football draft. Cole, would you like to jump in and kind of talk about what we'll be going through today?
Sure. All right, so we have 4 players each. We didn't really do position-specific players, kind of just 3 players that we think are breakout candidates for fantasy football in general, and our sleepers, and then 1 rookie candidate for breakout season this year. And that's what we're going to start with. So we're going to start today with our breakout rookies. And I think in the spirit of you being on the podcast, sir, I think I'm going to ask you to go first.
Started. So my breakout rookie for 2021 is going to be Trevor Lawrence.
Oh, okay.
Right now you can get him in the 10th, 11th round. Super late. O-line scheme hasn't looked good so far in the preseason. Cole, I know all of us being from Jacksonville, we watch these games pretty heavily.
Yeah.
Compared to other rookies, hasn't necessarily looked like the top pick. So
yeah, but
scheme and O-line returning going to help him out a lot.
I hope so.
Jaguars defense is not competent. They're not going to be good this year. Defense is going to take him out of a lot of games. Trevor Lawrence is going to be throwing the ball a lot, expecting a lot of volume. He has a really good wide receiver system with Jones, Chenault, and Chark.
One of the most, I think, stacked receiver cores.
I agree. It's just deep. 3 guys who can get the job done. None of them are on an elite level, but...
And Johnson's pretty good too.
Yeah, he's got jump ball ability.
Losing ETN definitely hurts.
Yeah, it does, but I think for James Robinson's development, I don't think that's the worst thing that could have happened.
It's not the worst thing. I think Chenault is going to get a lot of the looks that ETN did on those short little bubble screens or short slants that kind of will dig into James Robinson's carries a little bit because those are just glorified aspects of the run game.
If there's anything that preseason has taught me as a Jags fan, it's probably not going to be a big year for us, but there's some things to be hopeful for. So we'll see when that line gets healthy again.
Yeah, so if you do end up targeting Trevor Lawrence, you can pair him with a veteran, Kirk Cousins, Matt Ryan, Matthew Stafford, all guys you can take after the 9th, 10th round. Just guys that you know that you can throw in your starting lineup, and you know what to expect with those guys. Trevor Lawrence starting year as a rookie, so.
And does he play tonight, Trevor Lawrence?
He plays there today. A couple hours. Hopefully we'll see him get a touchdown on the board. We've been waiting for that. So
we've seen some flashes. 35-yarder in his first game.
And that
throw
Jones,
to
across
Chenault.
his body too.
When he's in the end zone,
he's looked good. He's looked good through the entire camp. So we're really excited to have him.
He has looked good. He's got some backup O-linemen in there that are not doing
him any favors. Yeah.
Shout out Tyler Shatley, and I don't even know the other backup that's in there right now, but we're missing Brandon Linder and Anthony.
Yeah, it's just not ideal for him. The Browns and the Saints both have a really good rushing front, so playing them in the first 2 games of the preseason just hasn't looked too good for
good test
Trevor
for
Lawrence.
And it's preseason, so it's not.
And however, he's not shitting the bed. He's still looking.
He's
still looking solid. So
better than Kirk Cousins. Alrighty, I'm ready to jump into my rookie. Kenneth Gainwell, rookie out of Memphis. The Eagles picked him up in the 4th round. Now, this guy definitely struggled on the scene when he first got into camp, but ever since preseason picked up, he's really ran with it. He's been playing extremely well. He's gotten 10 total carries, and he's had 7 targets, 7 catches. So he's really been making the most of his opportunity. And it seems like they value him most as a pass catcher, which is very helpful when it comes to these PPR leagues. And the coolest thing I saw was against, oh my gosh, I forgot who they played against, but he got every single touch on that drive. They didn't convert and get in the end zone, but you can tell the Eagles are definitely very excited about this kid. So he's in a 3 running back backfield with Kerryon Johnson from Detroit, and then they already had Miles Sanders. Both of these guys are decent players, but they can't seem to stay healthy. And The Eagles like I said, the Eagles like Gainwell, and they think he's going to get a lot of touches this year. And I'm not going to say bank on these two other guys getting injured, Johnson and Sanders, but the potential is high. Both these guys are high-risk injury guys. That being said, keep your eye on Kenneth Gainwell. His ADP has been like averaging 17. He's not even been on any rosters recently, but his name is getting more picked up, especially after these really two awesome preseason debuts he's had.
Yeah, with reports of Miles Sanders dropping the ball coming out of camp, Kenneth Gainwell can definitely
come in
solidify a spot.
Seriously.
The Eagles making moves too.
So keep your eye on number 14 on the Eagles. I like him a lot. Cole, who is your sleeper?
Let's talk about that really quick. Number 14 in a running back.
Oh, yeah.
What the fuck is he thinking?
I know. like he's Stephon Diggs out there. I mean, he's catching it though.
Stephon
That's
Diggs.
insane.
The only number 14 in history there.
It's like Andy Dalton being a running back. It just doesn't make any sense.
Anyways, my breakout rookie is going to be Elijah Moore for the New York Jets.
Okay.
There's been a lot of buzz about this guy since training camp, and he does actually have a path up the depth chart, but he still has to climb a little bit. He has literally been called the team's best player in camp.
As a rookie.
As a rookie. He's coming in and out as a ridiculously touted prospect with a 4.35 40.
Nice.
And he's currently listed actually as the lead WR2, so he should be out there quite a bit. And he's still competing a little bit with Corey Davis and Jameson Crowder, but it looks like he's actually passed up Jameson Crowder on the depth chart now.
Okay.
If he can manage to get on the field, he should be a waiver wire pickup. This guy should be an amazing waiver wire pickup. He's only rostered 33% of Yahoo teams and 37% of ESPN teams at the time of this recording. So he's probably available, and I would keep an eye out for this guy, especially if we see anything about him getting the starting spot. He's got an amazing. Zach Wilson looks awesome too. He's got an amazing rookie quarterback to throw to him. So I think Elijah Moore might be one of the biggest sleepers you could possibly get this year.
That's another team that you got to think that they're going to be in a lot of negative scenarios throughout the season. Just it's going to be down. Yeah, they're going to be down in a lot of games.
Garbage time points.
Jets running backs. They did draft rookies, so
yeah.
But their running backs aren't really anything too special to worry about. So you got to be thinking they're throwing the ball a lot. Especially being down in a lot of these games.
Was it Telvin Coleman and Michael Carter?
And Tevin Coleman hasn't put together a full season since I can remember.
Yeah.
He comes in and gets injured for half the season every single year.
He's got a bad history of injury, that guy.
So do you want to kind of just do like a snake kind of
Yeah,
rotation?
you want me to go to... Alright, so I'll let you guys... We're going to do freeform, whoever you guys want to do next. No position specific, anything like that. But for my running back, actually, I did a running back, tight end, and wide receiver. So for my running back sleeper, I did Trey Sermon. And Trey Sermon is... he's not being talked about a lot because he's on the 49ers and he's still behind Mostert on the depth chart. But Mostert's injury history is disgusting.
Yeah.
Mostert is guaranteed to get injured this year, and he is probably going to step right into that lead back role. He's got the size, the speed, and the ability to do it. And, he's only rostered in 65% of ESPN leagues somehow. And this guy is definitely going to see major volume this year. So I would go ahead and snag him. I actually snagged him, I think, in like the 6th round or something because I knew that he's going to end up filling in the RB1.
You drafted Trey Sermon in the 6th round.
Jeez. I have no idea why I drafted him. It wasn't the 6th round, but it was later. But I definitely drafted.
I don't think it was the 6th round.
I'd have to look, but it was between him and Sony Michel, and I kind of wish I had picked up Sony Michel now, but whatever. He'll be just fine. So he'll bring a safe floor each week, I think, with his size and ability, like I said, and a surefire bet. He's going to see running back one time in San Francisco.
They moved up to draft him. It's somebody that they wanted on draft day. They moved up in the draft.
Refused trades.
Clear that they wanted.
People were trying to trade up with 49ers, told them no because they wanted him. So that's the type of guy that could be a league winner later in the season for you. If he's on the waiver wire, you need a running back, just pick him up and keep on that bench spot till you hear something about him in the news because it'll be happening this year. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and turn it back over to Eric here for his sleeper.
Yes, sir. Alrighty. My first sleeper. non-breakout rookie, Jacoby Myers. So I feel like this guy is definitely pretty underrated, and he flies under the radar. He definitely plays very big. And last year, I feel like a lot of his plays and even his season was overshadowed. He only had 729 yards and 0 touchdowns, but he also had Cam Newton throwing him the ball. I don't know if y'all have seen Cam Newton throw a football recently. It's pretty pathetic. That's why their main offensive scheme last year was just running the ball with Cam Newton, which was successful for like the first 4 games of the season, and then everyone figured it out.
It's looked a lot better this preseason.
What? Cam
Newton starting
I will get to that point here in a second. One of the reasons why I like Jacoby Myers a lot is Mac Jones, the rookie out of Alabama they got at the 15th pick. Last quarterback in the first round taken. He has looked outstanding in preseason, and people have been raving about him in camp. And he throws an outstanding ball. He seems very poised in the pocket, and it seems like his decision making is on point. He's had great coaching. He's gone from Saban to Belichick. I have very, very high expectations for Mac Jones, and it also looks like Jacoby Myers will end up being that number 1 receiver. And so, basically, I think that Cam Newton is a starter. I really do not have high expectations for Jacoby Myers as a sleeper. That's my opinion. But I'm assuming that Mac Jones is going to come in and take the starting job. I like him a lot, and if that is the case,
fans they'll make that happen.
Yeah. And if that is the case, I expect Jacoby Myers to absolutely ball out. While last season, while he was playing, Edelman was having issues staying on and off the field. But even when he was there, he was almost getting 20% of the target share, which is pretty good for a second-year guy. Like I said, 750 yards, no touchdowns. We would like to see him get in the end zone more. But while Edelman was out for 2 games, Myers posted lines, 12 catches and 170 yards versus the Jets, division game. And then the next game, 7 catches and 111 yards of the Dolphins. 2 division rival games against the Dolphins had a pretty good defense. The Jets, makes sense he got 12 balls for 170 yards. But still, that being said, without Edelman there, you can tell this guy's a true baller, and he wants to get on the field and make the most of it. And if Mac Jones is the starter, do not let this guy fall to the 17th round, because his ATB is averaging 17.1 right now, and he should be going top 10 rounds.
Yeah, so like Eric, I also had Jacoby Myers. He was also on my list. And just where he's being drafted right now is such a value. He's going to be the clear wide receiver 1, knowing that they brought in Johnny Smith, Hunter Henry, Nelson Aguilar. He still is the clear number 1 in offense with Cam Newton, and Cam Newton did not necessarily perform well throwing the ball last year. Still averaged 19% of the target share. He was the main target in that offense, especially if the keys get handed over to Mac Jones.
Which it will be.
Yeah. Eventually. If not in the beginning, it will eventually be handed over to Mac Jones this season. His preseason has been super impressive.
Yeah, Cam Newton has 1 bad game, and Patriots fans will be.
Last year, Jacoby Myers did not score a single touchdown.
That's the only thing.
Which is, that's not a bad thing for him this year. You got to think with all of his targets, he had 81 targets last year in 11 games.
Yeah, that's pretty nice.
You have to expect him to score at least 1 touchdown. He's definitely just going to score more than 0 touchdowns this year. So you have to expect more points from that.
Yeah.
And then, definitely Jacoby Myers for where he's being drafted.
Seriously. Yeah, he's the man. Is Jacoby Myers your sleeper, or are you going in?
No, he's just someone, he's something to add on. But contrary to what Cole was talking about with Elijah Moore, I have Corey Davis.
Oh, there you go.
My next sleeper.
Stud.
So, last year in an offense with Jonnu, A.J. Brown, he still got 20% of that target share. So he's being targeted, and they did draft him to eventually be that guy.
Yeah, top 5, top 7 pick.
I think he was 6th overall.
Yeah.
So when you're drafted 6th overall, you're expected to be
a problem.
that guy.
Yeah.
Jets picked him up 3 years, $37.5 million. This past offseason, that was the 2nd highest contract for a wide receiver. Galladay only being higher, so they're paying him to be the number 1 in that offense.
Yeah.
This past preseason game it exposed him to a lot more people. Wilson targeted him 6 times on 11 of his throws, and he went off with those, scoring a touchdown. He looked really good this past game against the Packers. So I think he's a clear wide receiver 1 in that offense. The other wide receivers, Jamison Crowder, Elijah Moore, who is expected to be really good, have a good season, still a rookie. They're good. Like we said earlier, Jets' defense isn't necessarily that good. They're going to be throwing the ball a lot.
Yeah, which is crazy because they did look really good not that long ago, and now they, just like the Jags, they just like threw all their defensive pieces out the window.
This is someone you can get in 9th, 10th round, and I think he can go into a flex spot right away. If not, stack him on the bench.
Corey Davis,
Wait for
I
him
mean,
to perform.
even just for the money he's getting paid, he's going to produce. He's going to get at least
No, they paid good money to bring him in.
Yeah, he's going to get volume.
And he had that volume last year as well.
Yeah.
In a very stacked offense.
He's good. This guy that wins games, he catches game-winning touchdowns. He's not a no-name guy. So.
Yeah, and going into the season, he is the one. So.
And if you guys want to see some convincing film, just go watch his game in the preseason against the Packers. Zach Wilson was throwing into him nonstop, and Corey Davis looked just outstanding.
He did post. What did he post in that stat line? That was pretty good.
I'm not for sure, but it was just so obvious that he's that number 1 guy there, and he's going to be a problem this year.
Yeah. I think it's you now, Eric.
Alrighty. So my third guy, second sleeper. Go Knowles, baby. Jameis Winston. Jabu Winston, dude. So this is like a hate and love relationship with this guy, but he has been in the league for a long time now. You can consider him a seasoned vet, and he has a fantastic role model and leader in his org now with Sean Payton, the Hall of Fame coach, and he also, I don't know, if you go look at it in the past, he's in the best shape of his life. He looks outstanding right now, and he had an outstanding rookie performance, or not rookie, he had an outstanding preseason game against the Jaguars. It's not saying a whole lot, but if you go back and watch the game, he was dropping dimes.
Thanks, man.
Dropping dimes, 9 for 10. Another sleeper maybe people want to talk about is Marquez Callaway. He looked really good in that game.
Christ.
That guy was just
one-handed
mossing people.
catch was just
Similar to Corey Davis, their performance in the preseason this past week has been boosting them up draft boards everywhere. So they're exposed now to the point where they're just moving up draft boards. You can't get them for the same value that you could even last week, but still, where they're being drafted right now, it's
if you got them though, I mean.
Callaway is definitely someone to keep your eye on. Yeah. But the points I want to make about Jameis real quick. Coming out of college, he was number 1 overall pick, and it was obvious. He went to the national championship as a redshirt freshman, and he won that bitch. And then the next year, he went undefeated during the regular season, and then it ended unfortunately. But anyway, he ended up getting drafted number 1 overall, and he went to the Bucks. Now, this guy clearly had some immaturity issues in college, and it translated to the NFL, and we just saw that. The decision-making was cruddy. But he was still dripping with potential. Like, the offensive scheme they had there, they're just like, air it out, we want yards. He broke the franchise passing record with the Buccaneers. First NFL quarterback ever to have back-to-back 450-yard games. It's there. We can see that he can definitely play in this league.
He's a little generous with the football.
He's a little generous with football. He likes sharing it with the defenders. I don't know, but we can expect him to, if he can mature and Sean Payton can get in his ear and help him out. I expect huge things from this guy.
Take a step forward.
He's a Heisman winner, number 1 overall pick. There's no reason why he shouldn't be a stud.
Do you think he's a week 1 starter in fantasy football, or do you think that you would have to wait until he performs a couple times to put him in the lineup?
Yeah, I want to see him perform a couple times.
Definitely not a week 1 starter, but
if you guys want to take the risk and throw him, I think he's going to get touchdowns and yards, 100%. But is he going to get a bunch of interceptions?
You can't trust that week 1 though.
I think he's going to do that. Yes, that's never been the issue of him getting yards and touchdowns. It's been him throwing picks. You look at all his years; he throws for a bunch of yards. I'll write him out of touchdowns, but he throws so many interceptions. And so
more than touchdowns.
Yeah. So I would let him kind of get comfortable, and we'll see what happens.
Well, so when I was watching that game, I did hear the announcers talking about him and Drew Brees, and one of the things that Drew Brees told him that he said was the best advice that he's ever heard was, you don't have to be Superman all the time. You can be Clark Kent sometimes.
Ooh. I like
And
that.
I think that was probably a lot of his issue was trying, because you see that with a lot of quarterbacks in the league, like Carson Wentz with the Eagles.
Yeah, dude.
Trying to do more than you can ends up making you look bad because you're trying to force the ball into tight windows or run around in the pocket and not get sacked, and you end up throwing a pick or getting sacked and dropping the ball, fumbling it.
Is it alright to go get another beer? Like,
It'll be interesting. I think we could take a beer break if you guys would like to do that.
Cheers.
You
We'll
want
be
to do
back,
that?
yo.
All right.
Great day in North Florida. We are back from our beer break, and we're ready to jump into Owen's third sleeper. Let's go, baby.
My third sleeper this year, 2021 fantasy football, is going to be Melvin Gordon.
Wow.
Last year, he was the 14th ranked running back, so right at the end of RB1. So he was a top performing RB2 last year. Getting him at RB31 this year is serious value. He signed a 2-year, $16.5 million contract with the Broncos, which is really high for a running back, $8 million a year. And for someone who's already
Nowadays.
had mega injuries in his career, he's kind of winding down now. They just drafted
How old is he? You know?
late 20s, I believe, if you want to look that up. But yeah, they drafted Javonte Williams. They traded up for him in the second round. So he's definitely going to be a factor this year. However, he's dealt with Phillip Lindsay taking carries from him.
28.
And
Okay.
you saw how he performed last year, finishing as the 14th ranked running back. So
Yeah, he got in the end zone a few times, which is pretty cool.
averaged 4.6 yards per carry, which is his highest since 2018 with the Chargers. So it's his last year of his deal.
That's
I can
not
see
bad.
them.
Yeah.
That's a, yeah.
It's pretty
4.6 is very solid.
good. Yeah, it's really good.
But the last year of his deal, I don't see the Broncos re-signing him
No.
after
no way.
this. So I think they're absolutely planning on running him into the dirt. You can get him into the 9th or 10th round. He's not someone that you can have to start right away at all. He can be your RB3, RB4. However, seeing how the season goes, rookie running back, I think that Melvin Gordon's going to get a lot of snaps this year.
Okay. They also had, what's his face too? Royce Freeman.
The running backs are weird lately. They're just, we've seen like over a 5-year period, running backs go from some of the highest paid players on the team, most important players on the team, to being thrown off the face of a cliff. I mean, it was.
And yeah, no, $8 million a year for running back is
It's
a
a lot.
not big. deal.
Nowadays, it's
So
really
they're
good.
going to get. I feel like the Broncos are going to look to get their money's worth out of
Yeah.
him. And
Yeah.
I mean, they drafted the second round running back for a reason, and he was super impressive at UNC. They had a 1-2 punch. Him and the New York Jets rookie running back. However, when you are paying a running back $8 million a year,
You gotta use them.
and they will.
Yeah.
He is going to get. I feel like he's going to get a lot of volume this year. So.
And in case y'all didn't know, Teddy B secured the quarterback 1 spot with the Broncos over Drew Lock.
Yes.
I don't know that will have any effect, but I like Teddy Bridgewater a lot, so I just wanted to share that. Cole, you ready to jump into your final guy?
My final guy, huh?
Or
second to last.
Yeah, second to last. My apologies.
So I have a tight end sleeper on here. I think I'm the only one that has that. But I actually just kind of saw this guy the other day sitting around, and he is rostered 7% of ESPN leagues and 18%
Oh my gosh, who is it?
of Yahoo leagues. Is Blake Jarwin.
Blake Jarwin.
So
The tight end for the Dallas Cowboys?
yes, he was poised as a breakout candidate last year, and he was hurt early on in the season. So he's still the starter in Dallas because of the money that they're paying him. It's a big free agent contract for a tight end, and he'll probably be stepping right back into that starting role. So he was supposed to be a potential top 10 candidate last year, and his contract, I mean, it's going to be, I think it's up after this year actually, but the important thing here is that he's definitely a deep sleeper this year. If you don't have a tight end, or if you need a tight end to cover you on a bye week, I would just go ahead and start looking at this guy, playing for that. But he's definitely worth a shot. He should be getting a lot more involved this year, barring another injury, because they signed, I think it was a pretty good money contract there. But Blake Jarwin looks like he should be back this year, back with a vengeance, and he'll definitely be getting that tight end 1 volume. that he should see in Dallas this year. So.
Yeah, and Blake Jarwin is a top 20 tight end, but he's gonna be right around the end. So late teens.
He's got Dak. He's got Dak throwing to him too.
And Dak is expected to put up serious numbers this year.
Yes.
If last year is any representation of what he can possibly do this year with CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper.
Yeah, Dak was on track for a 7,000-yard season before he got hurt.
So you got to figure, if you have a starting tight end that you could get on that team, he's probably going to get you pretty good numbers throughout the year. And nobody has this guy, so that's my deepest sleeper here. I think nobody.
I didn't know he existed.
Cares about him.
I didn't know he was a real person until you just taught me. So
7%.
thank you for that.
7% of leagues.
That's a low number.
That's insane. You can get this guy for free.
Yeah, you can get him off the waivers. You can give someone else a try. Week 1, 2, someone that you draft.
You get somebody hurt. You get your
take
tight end hurt.
Take a flyer.
Pick him up.
This guy will be on the waiver wire. So
we know that tight ends are going to get hurt. Somebody's going to get hurt, and as soon as that happens, if you have that tight end, just pick up Blake Jarwin. Anyways, I think I'll pass that. There's not much to say about him because he's such a deep sleeper, so I'll go ahead and pass it back to you, Eric. Unless you want me to go to my
you do your final guy.
All right, so final guy. Shout out Tyson Sitz right here.
Shit.
I got Darnell Mooney, the
Nice.
Chicago Bears.
shout out Tyson Sitz too.
Shout out Tyson Sitz, yeah. Twice. That's the man right there. All right, so this is a second-year wideout that we saw get overthrown every throw last year. He's a potent deep threat, and on 23 targets that were 20 or more yards downfield, he only caught 4 of them. And that's not because he couldn't catch them, it's because he was overthrown every single time. Now, the problem was the quarterback play, of course, and Justin Fields' arrival kind of changes everything because they're going to want to drive down the field when they actually eventually start him.
I think that you can add Andy Dalton into that.
I think that Andy Dalton's going to last maybe 2 or 3 games.
Well, Andy Dalton, I think I'm confident in saying Andy Dalton is a better thrower of the ball than Mitch Trubisky.
Yeah.
So
if he
is in the game and playing, Darnell Mooney will see better targets.
Yeah,
through
I
that.
agree.
And so even now with whichever quarterback's in, I think Justin Fields is going to come on and become a great quarterback.
Mm.
However, with Andy Dalton right now, that's still better than what he had last year.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's no way this guy can get worse.
Exactly.
And yeah, Darnell's nasty, bro.
And he is.
Mooney's a fucking baller.
Not to mention he's got a 4.38 40, and Anthony Miller's gone.
Oh,
Anthony
dang,
Miller's
Anthony
gone.
Miller.
Opens up a lot of targets.
When we see Darnell Mooney on the field, there's a potential
Where did Anthony Miller
deep
go?
touchdown every single play now, and I think that no one really knows about this guy. I didn't put the roster percentage on here, but I should have done that. He had no touchdowns last year, so you bet he's going to be looking for his first NFL touchdown this year.
So he's rostered in 54% of leagues.
Oh, I have no
And you
idea.
can get him in the 13th or 14th round.
Oh,
so this is somebody that is late in drafts.
Yeah.
It's not someone that you're going to be throwing into your lineup right away.
It's a
See
flex
how
guy.
the Bears quarterbacks develop. See how
Yeah.
the Bears quarterbacks come along.
Solid
If they're
flex.
performing well, if he's doing well, all right, there you go. You got a
I mean,
solid player.
so
late in the draft.
23 times this guy was thrown at 20 yards or more down the field last year, and only 4 of those were actually on target. So if you scale that to this year and you say even half of those were on target, he's looking at, that's another 200. That's a lot of yards and potentially a lot of touchdowns that were missed last year that he could get this year. I think he's going to be great. I think he's a great sleeper option to keep on the bench until we see more about the Bears' offense in the actual regular season, because preseason Justin Fields has just been playing against,
So that time was going earlier. It's not going now. Is that straight?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Alrighty, was it my turn for my final sleeper?
It's your turn, sir.
Alright, guys. My final dude, Mr. Chase Edmonds. Go through some pros and cons. First thing I just want to get off is Kenyon Drake was there last year. He jinxed the hell out of himself, saying he was going to have an amazing fantasy monster season, and he was cheeks. He was so bad. He was on your team, wasn't he?
Chase Edmonds, yes.
Kenyon Drake.
Kenyon Drake. I had Chase Edmonds as well last year. So I had the two. I knew that if Kenyon Drake went down at any point, Chase Edmonds was going to be able to come in and take over the starting show, which is what he was able to do without Kenyon Drake, he was able to put together a couple nice games.
Okay.
And it's definitely something that he's going to be able to build on this year.
So with Drake being there, Drake was getting 50% of all the gains there, all the carries, and just snaps in general. And so with him gone, there is a starting job wide open. They went and picked up Connor from the Steelers. I think Connor used to be good. I think he sucks now. I watched him try to get to the outside.
See, I think James Conner's gonna have a productive year.
We will see. I saw him in his preseason game, and he looks just so old and ragged.
He's gonna get the first and second, a lot of first and second down reps.
Let me just go through, and then you guys can voice your opinions afterwards. But yes, my personal opinion, I think he's cheeks. That's why he just got a $1.7 million deal. They don't obviously have high expectations for him. When Chase was playing last year with Kenyon Drake taking 50% of the snaps, he's got 67 targets, 53 catches. I expect him to get more targets this year. I expect him to be on the field more often. Among 41 running backs with 30-plus targets, he ranks 16th in yards per target, 15th in yards per route run, and 17th in Pro Football Focus's receiving grade. Yes, I do expect all those to go up with Kenyon Drake's departure. Unfortunately, Edmonds was not as busy on the ground. He's much better of a receiving back, which is good for PPR. I hope he gets better on the ground this year. He only had 97 carries compared to Kenyon Drake's 239. So like I said, my argument earlier was that Connor's going to be bad, and that's going to leave opportunity for Drake to come in. Or not Drake, Chase Edmonds. So bottom line, if Connor is good, he does get a lot of carries. Chase Edmonds is not going to be great on the ground. He's going to get his catches. But if Connor is bad, I think Chase Edmonds is going to have a slam dunk season, and he's going to be a real threat. And him and Kyler are going to be a problem in the receiving and in the run game. And that's it for me. Chase Edmonds is my final guy.
I would say about James Conner, the thing that actually sold him a few years back was the touchdowns, not the yardage. He had 12 touchdowns that year. He's never had 1,000 yards, and he's never been somebody that's really looked like a particularly talented running back.
He was also on a great offensive line.
I would say talented, but hasn't looked necessarily like the RB1. Where you're getting him right now, you're getting him as an RB2. So he's the 23rd ranked running back from ESPN in about the fifth round. So you're drafting him right now as a flex or an RB2, and with James Conner there, I don't know if he's going to be able to get the volume. I think that he will get a ton of passing volume. Yeah. And we'll see how his rushing volume adds on to that. I just don't see too much. Would you guys rather have Myles Gaskin or Chase Edmonds?
Myles Gaskin, for sure.
Chase Edmonds is getting drafted before Myles Gaskin.
Jesus, that's close. Yeah, like I said, I don't think Chase Edmonds is going to have a great season if Connor comes in and kills it. Like, I'm banking, with me putting him as a sleeper, I'm banking that Connor is just not the guy, and Chase Edmonds takes the job. But yeah, that's my final guy. Owen, who do you have listed?
So my last sleeper is gonna be Robby Anderson.
Woo.
And this isn't some guy whose name is too far down fantasy boards. 2020, you know what he did this past year with the Panthers, wide receiver 21.
Okay.
Ranked really well in receiving yards in general, 13th overall in the league, had over 1,000 receiving yards. However, he only scored 3 touchdowns last year. So, which is why he's a little bit farther down the rankings than you would expect for someone who is 13th overall in receiving yards.
Better quarterback play.
Yeah, absolutely. Better quarterback play, and he already has really good rapport, really good relationship with Sam Darnold, being in New York with him for 2 seasons.
Yeah.
And he performed necessarily well in New York, I would say.
Very true.
And just a heads up, guys, Teddy Bridgewater had only 15 touchdowns and 11 interceptions with the Panthers, and the year before that he had 9 touchdowns. So this is not a guy that does a lot of touchdowns. Sam Darnold.
Right now this guy, you can get Robby Anderson. He's wide receiver 29. Yeah. I would expect as my sleeper, I would say that he's going to be a top 15 wide receiver.
He's one of those guys who's always on a team that has struggled, and he finally might have an offense that's capable of delivering the football to him at a reasonable rate.
Last year, Panthers' offense last year was without McCaffrey, and so they had Mike Davis. They didn't have their top guys in. However, he still warranted 28% of the target share, which is more. He had 20 more targets than DJ Moore, which is someone that's getting drafted 25 spots ahead of him.
That's supposed to be their number one guy.
Exactly. You could get Robby Anderson he's a great safety valve. If you take running backs early, you have him on the back end in the 6th round, the 7th round. If you're able to get him as a flex, love him at flex.
Yes.
Wide receiver. If it has to be wide receiver 2, he can definitely be a wide receiver 2. Like we said, he already has a relationship with Darnold. He's looked good in the preseason. Looked good in the last preseason games. So
great route runner.
Also have that Curtis Samuel's gone. He got 100 targets last year in a Teddy Bridgewater led offense.
Wait. Curtis Samuel had 100 targets?
Yes. I think his exact number is 97.
Wow.
I'm rounding up by 3 targets.
That's crazy. 100 targets.
That's going to be moving around a lot. And obviously, McCaffrey's going to warrant more targets because he runs a dick ton of routes.
But you also got to think, Mike Davis came in and was, dude.
Really similar, but obviously, of course, he's not the same as McCaffrey.
He's not the same, but he still did a very good job kind of filling that void.
And
McCaffrey
in 2018, Anderson had 5 touchdowns. 2018 had 6 touchdowns. 2019 had 5. He had 3 last year. You have to expect that number to go up with how often he's on the field. I think that we're all expecting Sam Darnold to have a solid year and be able to support DJ Moore and Robby Anderson. I think that both those guys are going to have really solid years. However, Robby Anderson being drafted ADP 73 on ESPN, it's such a better value than DJ Moore. And if you take different players early, Robby Anderson enables you to take a quarterback that's high. Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson, one of those guys. He allows you to take a tight end early. George Kittle, Kyle Pitts. He allows you someone else. He's a safety valve. So he's a really solid player that you can get at that round.
Real quick, Mike Davis played 15 games last year and got 70 targets. So without Mike Davis, I mean, he did get similar numbers at C-Mac. He did get a lot of those receptions. So
I think you're going to see more targets with C-Mac than him last
year. Still, though, I'm just saying 70.
They did draft Terrace Marshall in the 2nd round.
Oh, that's a good out of LSU.
So you have to think that some of Curtis Samuel's targets and just some of those targets will now be warranted to him. And he's been performing well as well. So it's something that you got to add into it. However, Robby Anderson has performed extremely well last year.
So good. Dude.
Great relationship with the quarterback. He's a really safe pick this year, and I think that he will form inside wide receiver 15.
And it's not even that Robby Anderson is getting great opportunity. He's playing at a high level as well.
Absolutely.
He's playing.
He catches. Yeah.
Seriously, he's playing very well right now.
He'll be. That's a good one. That was a good one.
Yeah. That was a great. Was that the last one?
That's the last sleeper. Yeah.
That was a great one to finish on. I appreciate y'all tuning in. Owen, I appreciate you coming on the show.
Yeah, no, of course. Hopefully, we can figure out another time to do this again.
Oh, yes, sir.
It was a lot of fun. So, great day in North Florida, as y'all know.
Great day in North Florida.
Real quick, we will be dropping this soon, and we will be dropping our top 10 running backs and our top 5 tight ends soon as well. So, be looking for that, guys, at godtierscouting.com.
Updated, we did do a podcast with just the audio for the top 10 running backs already. However, things have changed as they naturally do in the NFL, and we felt like the rankings deserved an update as we go into the season. So
J.K. Dobbins is done for the year.
There you go. One example of how things change.
Where do you guys have James Robinson right now? Is he where?
He's moving up the board. I don't have him quite placed yet.
3rd round value.
Sir, he is definitely moving up my board.
You could take him in the late 2nd round, and I would be completely fine with that.
He got me too.
And he's currently being drafted ADP 49. Obviously, that's flying up probably by the day.
Yeah.
But for any more advice on Mr. James Robinson or any other running backs, you'll have to tune in to the next episode. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you, Owen, for being on the show. I'm sure we'll get you back on there.
Thank you for having me on. Yep.
All right, great day in North Florida, baby.
Yes,
come on,
man. Great day in wherever the hell you are, too.
Check out Donda. Go play this.